It's a very quiet group. Good morning. All right, that's better. How many of you were born after 1980? Okay, so the millennials are here. That's good. How many of you are attorneys? All right, and how many of you are something else? Good for you. I am delighted to be here. I'm just going to give a couple of brief welcoming comments because you have real work to do. I'm the Attorney General, so I just speak generally about things, and I'm not going to do specifics. But I was delighted to be invited and just wanted to say I'm glad that you're here and hope that not only will you get some substantive information today, but that you'll also get to know each other and develop the networks that you need, because the challenge for all of you going into this brave new world of e-discovery is that you're not going to be able to do it by yourselves. You can't do it by yourselves in your firms or where you work, whether it's government or private. If you are lawyers and you're born before 1980, you may have a little updating to do because the business of law has changed, and this is a really important part of that business. And so I'm really here to say good luck, and not only I hope will today be a good start for you, but you'll also keep in touch and educate each other, because the process by which this changes and the pace at which this changes is so speedy that nobody, particularly those of us in government, cannot keep up with it. I want to tell you a quick story about where my interest in the intersection of digital and the law began. And it was the day after Christmas in the year 2000. I was on my way back from visiting relatives from Chicago. We were on our way to the airport. My phone rang. My first assistant, John McAvoy, let me know that 7 people had just been murdered at Edgewater Technology. They didn't have much information at the time, but 7 people had been murdered. There was an individual under arrest named Michael, also known as Mucko McDermott. And I was about to get on a plane, but as I was waiting, I saw CNN, and every single news truck was there because this was a new technology company, day after Christmas, and it was an incredibly violent workplace slaughter, and one where the perpetrator actually had not committed suicide, and so he had surrendered. And do any of you remember this case? Yeah, and it was an individual who killed 7 people, sat down, and when the police arrived, he said, "I don't speak German." That was his one comment that he made at the time on the scene. He was a large guy, a little unkempt, if you remember, unkempt looking, so he looked a little crazy. And it turned out that his defense in this case was, I didn't know what I was doing. I believed I had been transported into pre-World War II in Germany, and I was in Hitler's bunker, and I was killing Nazis to save the Jews. That's what I believed, and that, if the jury believed it, would have been a defense under the law, that he was either unable, he didn't know the difference between right or wrong, he was unable to conform his behavior, and so operating under his belief, he was doing the right thing. Well, we didn't believe him that that's what he believed. And part of what we did in this investigation was an extensive search of records, computers. Now, this is 2000. Of course, Edgewater Technology had his computers, everybody else's computers. He had computers at his home. And this is before we had any legal work, really, on what it meant to search a computer. We didn't have much case law. We actually didn't have a lot of guidance in the forensic world about how the law would look at searches for this. And because we knew his state of mind was going to be key, and because we knew that he'd had a long-standing battle with the IRS, the company had garnished his wages recently, we knew that he was angry about that. We knew also that he suffered from some depression, but we did not believe that he had suffered from some kind of schizophrenic break and he was unable to conform his behavior. But we had to prove it. We had to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And so we set about doing those searches, knowing that everything we did or didn't do would be examined not only by the appeals court, obviously by the SJC in a first-degree murder case of this magnitude. And so we brought in not only the trial lawyers, but the appellate lawyers. We worked with state police to develop the affidavits we thought we did to get the search warrants to do those computers. Because this was, are these file cabinets? Are they just a place we're searching? Is this going to be more like a wiretap where we're going in to look at what is on these computers? And we didn't know what the courts were going to do. And so we laid the groundwork. I think we did a very good job. In retrospect, I think we certainly did a very good job, knowing that this would be reviewed by the SJC and it would be a seminal case in what it was in this piece of digital forensics. And we knew at that stage, as more and more domestic violence cases involved cell phones, recordings, we knew that the need to understand what digital evidence was, and more importantly, how the law was going to treat it, would be uppermost. And we wanted to do it right. We wanted to get a good decision that would be based on the law and precedent. It would give people a clear idea, not just really on the criminal side, but in all aspects of law, what was this brave new world of technology. So that's a long time ago, right? In this world, 2000 is ancient history. But as you know, by the time cases are tried, go up on appeal, the technology has totally changed. And so we were also looking to establish important principles. What was the way that we would look at this, not just this case and these computers, but what were the concepts that the court would start to look at around cyber and digital evidence. And so certainly I knew as DA and then coming into our Attorney General's office, it was clear to me that government particularly, because we represent the government, because we're involved in so much civil litigation, because everything we do on the criminal side and now on the civil side involves understanding how this technology works, it was really important that we also understand it, as you are here today to make sure that where you work and what you do is going to be cutting edge and compliant with the law. And so this is evolving, and part of what comes out of these processes is understanding where we're going and what are the principles involved. This is what law school is about, right? We learn these cases and principles, and we hope that we will have judges who will look forward, not just on the technology, but what the principles are involved. And so as this evolves and it becomes a tool and a challenge that we all deal with, it's important that we do it right. And as we established our cybercrime division, and as we have worked in our office to come up to speed on e-discovery issues, and I also understand that what's exciting about this, I think, are the way you all have to work with each other in teams to get this right. I just wanted to say thanks to Diane Barry. Where's Diane? Is she right in front of me? We brought Diane into the AG's office, and her only job is to make sure that we are doing absolutely everything we can and should around e-discovery. And she's been very helpful to us, and I think to you in the community, in organizing around these issues to make sure that e-discovery, digital forensics professionals, and lawyers, many lawyers, I'm sure, have seen this piece of the business change so quickly. But if we do not, as lawyers, stay ahead, then, as Darwin said, it's not the strong who survive, it's those who are able to adapt. And as you look at law firms and those who have succeeded, large and small, it's been the firms that have been able to adapt not only to what their practice requires, but to what their clients require them to do, and what the courts are requiring in terms of compliance with a process that remains fundamentally the same in terms of discovery and what we need to do and fairness, but the processes in which we do it have become so different. So there's a huge need for the tools, the skills, and the education for all of you to make sure that we do it right where law and technology intersect. So I appreciate the chance just to come to say good morning and good luck, and I hope that this will be the beginning. I know this is your fourth. I'm sure that it won't be the last of these. And you are also the source, I think, for, as you think about this, if you see changes that need to happen, think in terms of where we are going with this and how we can do better, make it easier. Because in the end, we're really about getting results, good results for our clients, for the people we represent, in using these tools to make sure that we do it well and in compliance with the law. So thanks, good luck. I hope everybody has a great holiday season, and take care. Bye-bye.